outcomes-based education, or the basis for enhanced teacher education, which is the last part of our report. So I am teacher Jersey Banto. Okay, so for our objective at the end of the lesson, students will be able to first define what is outcome-based education, identify the four principles of OBE, describe how teaching and learning relate to OBE, and try to also describe how assessment is achieved, learning relate to OBE. Okay, so let us define the definition of outcome-based education, or known as OBE. So we have W. Spaded on 1994 defined OBE as a clearly focusing organization, everything in the educational system around essential for all the students to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. So when we say learning-based education, it clearly focusing on and organizing everything in the educational system around essential for all the students to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. So Spady premised that OBE should all students can learn and succeed, but not at the same time or in the same way. So he said that successful learning promotes even more successful learning, and schools and teachers control the conditions that will determine if the students are successful in school. So we have the four essential principles in learning-based education. First, we have the clarity of focus. So what is clarity of focus? It is a clear focus on what teachers want students to learn is the primary principle of OBE. So teachers should bear in mind that the outcomes of teaching is the learning of the students. So teachers and learners should have a clear pictures in mind what knowledge, skills, values must be achieved in the learning throughout their journey. So second, we have the principle 2, which is the designing backwards. So at the beginning of a curriculum design, the learning outcomes has to be clearly defined. So it is important that the objective must be clearly defined. No, what to achieve at the end of the formal schooling is determined at the beginning. So decisions are always traced back to desired results. So this means that planning, implementing, and assessing should be connected to the outcomes. Of course, we all know that the discussions should be related on the learning objectives. Next, you have the high expectations, which means establishing high expectations, challenging standards of performances will encourage students to learn better. So, a successful learning promotes more successful learning. So, success reinforces learning, motivates, builds confidence, and encourages learners to do better. So, these are the high expectations. Last but not the least, we have the expanded opportunities, which means all students are expected to excel. Hence, equal expanded opportunities should be provided. Okay, so every child has a genius in him or herself. Hence, they are capable of doing the best. Multiple intelligence. So learners develop inward potentials if corresponding opportunities and support are given to nurture the students. So, teaching learning in OBE. So, teaching is teaching if learners learn. Yeah, right? Learning is measured by its outcome. Whatever approach to the teaching is used, the intent should focus on learning rather than on teaching. So it is important that students learn how to learn. Hence, a teacher should be innovative. Okay, so what are the goals of traditional and OBE view in the teaching learning process? So these are the traditional view and the OBE view. So in traditional view, we have the instruction, inputs and resources. Knowledge is transferred by teacher. Teacher dispenses knowledge, and the teachers and students are independent and in isolation. So these are the traditional view. But in OBE, learning resources, knowledge already exists in the mind of the learners. Teachers are designers of methods, and teachers and students work in teams. So these are in OBE, it is already enhanced, no? So there are tips on how teaching learning be done in outcome-based education. So first, teachers must prepare students adequately. Teachers must create positive learning environment. Of course, it is important, right? Teachers must help their students understand what they learn, what they should learn, and how they will be able to know what they have learned. Then last, teachers must use a variety of teaching method. Okay, so teachers must also provide students with enough opportunities to use their knowledge and skills that they gain. And teachers must also help students bring each learning to a personal closure that will make them aware of what they are learning. Okay, so assessment of learning outcomes in OBE. So what is this? So assessment in OBE should be guided by the 4 principles of being. We discussed it earlier. We have the clarity and moreover, which are clarity of focus, deciding backwards, high expectations, and the expanded opportunity. So it should contribute to the objective of improving the students' learning. Okay, so to be useful in OBE system, assessment should be guided by the following principles. First, assessment procedure should be valid. Yes, it should be validated. Now, procedure and tools should actually assess that one intends to test. Then, assessment procedure should be reliable. The results should be consistent. Okay, next we have the assessment procedure should be fair. So, cultural background and other factors should not influence the assessment procedure. Next, we have the assessment should reflect on the knowledge and skills that are important to students. Then, assessment should tell both the teacher and students how students are progressing. Next, we have assessment should support every student opportunity to learn the things that are important. Then, assessment should be comprehensive to cover a wide range of the learning outcome. So, next we have the learner's responsibility for their learning. So, students have also the responsibility when it comes to learning. So, in OBE, students are responsible for their own learning and progress. So, nobody can learn for the learner. It is only the learner, him or herself, who can drive himself or herself to learn. Okay, so thus, learning is personal matter. So we, as a student, must know how to learn and know how important learning is, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so teachers can only facilitate that learning, define the learning outcomes to be achieved, and assist the students to achieve those outcomes. So teachers only serve as the facilitator, and students are the one who is responsible in learning. So one great benefit of outcome-based education is that it makes students aware of what they should be learning, why they are learning, why they are actually learning, and why they should do when they are learning. Why are you smiling, Rose? Okay, so in OBE, students should reflect on themselves. So here are some guide for students. What do I have to learn? Why do I have to learn? What will I be doing while I am learning? How will I know that I am learning? What I should be learning? Will I have any responsible, right? So, if you are not willing to learn,
No one can help you.
But if you are determined to learn,
No one
no
can
one can stop
you.
you. Sakto dili?
Sakto.
Yes. So, do you have any questions? Okay, so these are my verse for today. First Chronicles 16:34 from NIV. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good.
His love endures forever.
Okay, so that would be all, and thank you